Our next guest here on the Oakland County MegaCast is Kasriel Shemtov. He's the Rabbi and Spiritual Director over at The Shul. Thank you for taking time to be with us today. We appreciate it.
Hi, good to be here.
How are things going for you and so many people around you? Because the beautiful thing about our religion is customs and community, and the pandemic has kind of thrown us all for a loop in those areas.
Yes, we're having a great time. It's a wonderful time of celebration. This is a month in the Jewish community where we're full of holidays, wonderful traditions, wonderful celebrations. And the key is to find creative ways that in this period of time, we could celebrate COVID safe.
But you say that with a smile, which is beautiful.
Well, it's a lot of fun. You know, at first when we're sitting down and we're brainstorming, what are we going to do? How do we handle this holiday? How do we get everyone involved? How does everyone participate? And when that comes about, it's like, it might be some difficult moments, but then when you find it and it works and we found the path forward, it's exciting, it's fun, and everyone's enjoying it.
So we are in the Jewish New Year, the high holidays. Tell us about Sukkah. I'm excited about this because I will say I noticed this in my neighbor's backyard. I didn't know what it is. So I'm so excited that you're on the show today.
Yes, it's a wonderful holiday, the holiday of Sukkot. And
see, I didn't even pronounce it right, and I even went on YouTube and checked up to the pronunciation.
Well, you know, if you're speaking about an individual Sukkah,
okay,
if it's plural, it's Sukkot. So you did just fine.
Thank you.
Yes. So listen, we talk about this holiday. This is a biblical holiday, and where the Bible tells us, the Torah tells us to go out of our homes, out of our fortresses, out of our secure dwellings. Go into the outdoors, go outside, and for 7 days, you will be spending your time in a booth, in a hut, however you want to call it. And what is a sukkah? A sukkah is essentially where you have 4 walls. You can create that with panels or many different materials. What's key is that it's open to the sky and only covered with organic material of branches, leaves, bamboo. Some people have made bamboo mats, all kinds of materials that are natural. And we sit in that booth, in that sukkah, and there we eat, we drink, we tell stories, we study, we sing, we enjoy, and we're supposed to spend our time in the sukkah. And that's what we do for the 7 days of Sukkot, of the holiday of Sukkot.
It's a beautiful tradition, but how is that being done right now in the middle of a pandemic when we are supposed to be socially distanced from others?
Okay. So you know what? Before we go into how we do it today, maybe I should give you a little background of what is the meaning of this and what are the messages to us, and we'll see how it fits right in to our time of COVID as well.
Oh, we would love that. Thank you.
Is that a deal? Okay. So the Torah tells us, why were we asked by God to go out and be in the Sukkah? So this goes back to the beginning of our history of the Jewish people, when the Jewish people were taken out as slaves from Egypt to freedom, and they're making their way, the Israelites are making their way to the land of Israel, and for 40 years they wandered in the desert. Now in the desert is where God embraced them. God took care of them in a miraculous way. Now, when you study the story in the Bible, you learn there are a number of key factors, essentials that the Jews need. They needed to be able to eat, so they had the manna from heaven. They had the water from the well of Miriam. And then there were something very specific, which was something very unique, which was the clouds of glory. And the Bible tells us about these clouds, that they enwrapped the Jewish people. They went before them to straighten out and make it proper weather, so it shouldn't be too cold, it shouldn't be too hot. They should be taken care of. And this was God having clouds all around them, on the 4 sides, under them, on top of them. They were basically enwrapped within these clouds of glory as they were going through the 40 years in the desert. So God comes along to the Jewish people and says, okay, when you're going to go into Israel, when you are going to go into live a normalized life, so to speak, where you're going to plow and you're going to make you're going to have your careers, you're going to have your homes. Once a year, you're going to go out and live in a hut, in a booth, and remember that it's God that's really protecting us. It is God that gives us the power and the strength to be able to be who we are, even though we might think it's our own security and our own homes that give us that sense of security. It's when we go out to the Sukkah, we remind ourselves that we're always in the hands of God. And it's interesting how one of the analogies that's given is given like a baby. When a baby is born, right at first they clean the baby. The baby should be, should be clean and not in touch with anything that can infect it. And then they wrap the baby up in a blanket. And that blanket, the swaddle that they wrap the baby, is not only to protect the baby from anything unclean, but also they have the hands and the feet, everything in the proper place, and they wrap the baby very tight. And this gives the strength and setting the baby off on the right course, not only for that temporary moment, but for the future when they grow up. And what we're told is that the Sukkah is like the swaddle of God. When he took them through the desert for 40 years, it was like putting them in a swaddle where we're totally in the embrace of God. And now God says, go out into the Sukkah, go out into the booth, into the hut. And there, remember, you are embraced. You are in the swaddle. You are taken care of. And all your worries that you're concerned about, remember, there is a higher power and there's something to give you comfort. And that's why Sukkot is a holiday of joy and celebration. And it's a wonderful time, I think, and that's why I gave you this introduction, is especially for this period of COVID. Because in a way, I feel like the message of Sukkot is a message for all of us, all of humanity, when we're dealing with COVID. Because, we all had our plans. We all have our security, and we have our country and our military, and we have financially, we're setting ourselves up with, in terms of our finances. Everything was all planned and trying to live a secure life with forecasting the future. And then COVID comes along and throws all of us for a loop, all of humanity. And it all of a sudden says, we're vulnerable. It's like going out in the Sukkah. We're not in our home. And the message is, remember, don't panic. You could go on with your life. You'll find the right path. God is with us. And each and every one of us is ultimately in the hands of our Creator. And therefore, this should give us a reminder and a sense of comfort that we will get through this. All of us together will get through this strong, united, and we can be in the swaddle of God and look forward to a good year. So that would be the message that I would take out of the holiday of Sukkot for this period of COVID.
What a beautiful message for all of us, even those of us that don't celebrate the Jewish faith. This is an amazing time, the Jewish New Year, for you and the faithful. For everyone out there, though, your message extends beyond anyone's religious faith or nationalities or backgrounds. What do you want the public to know about this time?
This time is a time in the Jewish tradition. This is a time of joy, of happiness. It's interesting that you mentioned before the high holy days. Okay, so what's most known to people is that we have the Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, and then we have Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. And both of them are solemn days. Although they're a holiday, but they are solemn and they're, you could say, intense. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because the first day of the year, the Jewish New Year, is considered also a day of judgment, where God decides how the year is going to be for you. And then you have the Day of Atonement. So throughout those 2 weeks, you're in a position of reflection, introspection, kind of figuring out, am I as good as I should be? How can I refine my character? How can I be more kind to someone? How can I fulfill the commandments of God? And those things that need repair and repentance, that's what the Day of Atonement is. Now, when you complete a period of 10 days of that kind of introspection and repentance, you could say intense period, then what happens when two people who love each other and they have kind of a little bit of a falling out, or they're trying to make up, and they kind of work through their issues, and then now they've forgiven each other and they're back together? That's a moment of unity. That's a moment of joy. And that's what the Sukkah is, as I said earlier. We go out in the Sukkah, now we're in the swaddle of God, and it's a time of joy. And it's a time of unity. It's a time of being together. And I think that what everyone can take out of this, and not just of the Jewish faith, but every human being, is at a time like this, we have to be together as a community. Because, many people like to say we're all in the same boat with COVID. But the reality is we're not. We're all in the same storm, but we're not all in the same boat. Because I know many people who will tell me, sometimes confidentially, they'll say, I hate to say this, but I'm actually loving the situation. I'm home, I'm sitting in my shorts, and I'm having my whiskey, and I'm watching my Netflix, or I'm doing my job. It's all working out. I'm having wonderful business, and everything's wonderful. And at the same time, there's someone else who actually is struggling, suffering. Either they've lost a loved one, or someone is ill. And then you have many people are very vulnerable and they have to be alone. You have seniors who are alone. You have individuals who don't have the funds to pay for their children's meals. So they're struggling. So you have different types of people. And these different types of people have to all come together, because it's at this time that anyone that has the wherewithal, we need to pick up the phone and call someone and give them the spirit, lift their spirits, help them out in whatever way we can. Because this is a time to be a community where we help each other. Everyone has their moment. Everyone has their time. And I think COVID is a time that really, expresses that it's a time to come together as a community. And that's also the message of Sukkot, is a message of unity, where we all join together for a joyous time, a celebratory time. And that's the holiday of Sukkot.
Joining us on the Oakland County Megacast today, Rabbi Kasriel Shemtov, the spiritual director of the Shul, today on the Oakland County Megacast, all throughout the local area, including on the Facebook page of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. So on that note, Rabbi, in this community, Shadad Lubavitch of Metro Detroit has planned events to bring people together in a safe way. Could you go into some detail about what some of those events are that are bringing people together safely during this, what is supposed to be a very joyous time, but it can also be a very treacherous time for a lot of people also due to the circumstances we're under?
Absolutely. And this is a very exciting time for us. As you said, we're part of a movement called Chabad Lubavitch. This is a Hasidic Jewish movement, and we have centers all across the state. And what we're trying to do is, if we're going to celebrate a holiday, it's not enough to just celebrate with ourselves. We have to reach out and allow everyone else to celebrate. And this was taught to us by our Rebbe, our teacher, our leader, Rabbi Schneerson, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who taught all of us that you can't celebrate a holiday without your community. So therefore we sat, as I mentioned earlier, and we came up with some approach for everyone, each one on their level, to be able to participate. So we set up a website. It's called sukkahindthepark.com. Sukkah, by the way, with 2 Ks, sukkahindthepark.com. And we have 2 approaches over there. One is we set up what's called a mobile sukkah. And in a moment, I'm actually going to walk outside and show you one of those. It's a mobile sukkah on a truck, which has all the qualifications of a sukkah. In other words, the biblical qualifications. And you go on to that sukkah, and you can practice and have a moment of celebration in the holiday. So we made a number of events in the Metro Detroit area where members of the community will come together. We have one in Heritage Park, one in Detroit, one in Huntington Woods. This is all there in the details in sukkahindthepark.com, where we have a celebration, all with social distance, sometimes even quite wide apart, everyone with masks. We have the celebration, and while the celebration is taking place, we give individual rights to everyone to go onto that sukkah, be alone in that sukkah, have a bite, have a drink, be able to make a blessing on the lulav, which I'll explain to you in a moment what that is, and be able to celebrate in that way. So one of the programs that we have is various events in open space where people can participate. That's number one. Number two is we realize that not everyone can make it at those times. And also some people still don't want to go out in public, even in outdoors in that fashion. So therefore, what we did was we call it Party to You, where you go on the website, you can register for a certain time with one of the centers, and we will come visit you at your home where you are with your family or with your pod, with a couple of others. And we're going to bring the Sukkah mobile to you, and you can come on individually, celebrate with the proper distance and the proper safety, and have a wonderful holiday celebration so everyone could feel part of this holiday. You know, it's so important. You know, it's COVID. It's difficult. And for many, it means locking ourselves up and being in our home, at least I say for some. But if we look and search for a way to fit in safely for each and every one according to their needs, we can accomplish a lot. Some of our centers, we also have an ability, we have appointments all day for the rest of the week. Every 15 minutes, an appointment where people are coming and being able to use the public sukkah, but alone, not with the gatherings that usually take place. So we're getting ready now for a week of celebration, a week of travel, a week of coming together in a very special and unique way. And that gives us a lot of pleasure, a lot of pride. We're all happy to be part of this.
I know that just a couple more minutes here with you on the Oakland County MegaCast. This has been a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing it. I think, too, by making it public and taking it mobile, it's also an educational piece for the general public who has questions about exactly what it is and the Jewish faith in general.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. It's a learning experience for everyone, very educational, very enlightening. And it's something that we all could do. You know, it's not only for the rabbis or for the synagogues or for our movement. Everyone, whatever we have, we could share with someone else, and we could reach out to someone else. And when we do that, we learn more, we celebrate more. You tell me when you want to go for a little tour to show you our mobile sukkah, and we could go out there, and then we can continue the conversation.
Let's go out now. Let's take
Okay.
a walk. Give us a tour. We only have a couple more minutes here with you.
So I'm going to have my son hold my camera with me.
Okay.
And take us along.
The younger generation has been great at being our IT partners during all of this, right?
Yes. We're going to make our way out to the outdoors, which is very appropriate to Sukkot. So this is our mobile sukkah that can go anywhere and share with anyone. This is a beautiful day, sunny day today. And here I'm sitting in this mobile sukkah, which is on a truck. It's not an advertisement for any particular company. You
Right.
can do this any way you want. We actually can give you the tools to make one on your own. And, while we're here, how many minutes do we have left?
We have a couple more minutes. You can go ahead and explain.
Okay. This is a very, another tradition, which is very much part of the holiday of Sukkot. And this is also in the Bible telling us to take 4 kinds and bring them together. And these are the 4 kinds, is what it says in the Torah, in the Bible. It says, one is a citron fruit. The other one is a branch of a palm tree. We have the myrtle, and we have the willow. And it says on this day, on these 7 days, as we celebrate, we should bring them together. these four kinds. And that is a very special tradition. So I'll share with you, since we're talking about the unity, this whole holiday is very much about unity. You see, this fruit here, the citron, has a beautiful smell. And you can make wonderful food out of it, jam and other things, wonderful taste. Represents the type of person that's just a perfect person, a righteous person. Wonderful scholarship, wonderful good deeds, kind deeds. They're a wonderful person. And then you have the palm tree, which is dates, which has taste, but no smell, which means some people have scholarship, some people have good deeds. You have the myrtle that has a wonderful smell, but not a great taste. And then you have the willow, has no taste and no smell, which would represent someone that is not excelling in any area that you could see. But we're told you got to bring them all together. If I sit with the perfect one all day and smell it and eat it or enjoy it, I will not be following any of the traditions. Only when I bring them all together and I bring it close to me will this represent the holiday of Sukkot. Because now, more than ever, we have to come together. We have to come together as a community, and we have to be united, and we have to care for each other, be there for each other. That's one of the beautiful celebrations of Sukkot. So this mobile sukkah, in a moment when we're done, we're going to get in the driver's seat. I'm actually going to get into the driver's seat, and we're going to go visit some people, and we're going to do celebrations. Some of them haven't stepped out anywhere. They've been locked up since March, and we're going to have a wonderful time. We're going to even be able to dance and sing from a distance, but together and united.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing and being with us. We love it. Sukkah in the park. That's where people can get all the information. And I love your spirit. I love your spirit of creativity as well. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. There are many people involved in this. The volunteers, sponsors, others who have been involved in this, and even those that came up with the ideas. So I got to give credit to all. And together as one, we can all achieve great things. Let's take the spirit and look forward to a good and sweet year.
Very well said. Very well said. Thank you for your time. We so appreciate it. And hopefully you have beautiful weather this week as well.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that.